Flyover State of Film was shot in front of a live studio audience.
Welcome to episode 47 of Flyover State of Film, knee deep in quarantine. I got my boys here, Brian, TJ, and Jusef. How you guys doing?
Hey.
So pull them drinks out. In honor of finishing yours truly, I'll have a martini, shaken not stirred.
This guy did the deed. He's got better than Jesus over here. Man walked on martinis for you people.
Ooh, with the olives. Fancy.
Anybody can go to the desert and come back. He went to 27 movies and kind of came back.
Yeah, I saw 25 Bonds. I've already forgotten every one of them.
Did you also throw in the Austin Powers in there? Did I notice you were watching Austin Powers in there too?
I watched Austin Powers like a week before I even wanted to. See, I will watch Austin Powers. It made me... So, binging all the Bonds just made me appreciate every joke in Austin Powers. How, like, especially the first one, how, like, tight, like, the set design and everything is to, like, the Bonds of the 60s.
So now you have to watch The Kingsman as well, and that would complete the whole circle.
You watch Man from U.N.C.L.E., which is a much better Bond movie than they've made in a while.
Well, the only one I didn't, like, technically that's considered a, like, not a canon Bond, but still James Bond that I didn't watch, was the parody they made in the late 60s called Casino Royale, where like 5 different Bond, like there's 5 different versions of James Bond in the movie, and it's like super 60s comedy. And that's it's technically
I think 27, 25, or however many movies it was. And you definitely earned it. You can take a break. You don't have to watch that one.
Before we get,
did you watch The Rock though?
My son.
Did you watch The Rock? Because there's a theory that I have in my head. Super original.
Head canon.
That Sean Connery is actually James Bond in that movie. Oh my god!
I actually like that theory, but
I can't believe you just thought of that just now on this show. That's amazing.
I never saw it.
I did watch the one that he made that's not an Eon film. Never Say Never Again. But
isn't that Justin Bieber's movie?
Never Stop Stopping.
Oh,
never stopping.
Watch Pop Start. That was an experiment that I subconsciously stole from what I've been doing in quarantine, which I substantially stole from Brian's flyover topic.
Yep.
And honestly, terrible pick after doing it all.
Yeah, I'm glad you took that bullet. Thanks a lot.
But there are some really good ones. Check out those rankings. What have you guys been watching? Anything interesting since we last talked?
Yeah. I've caught up on a whole bunch of shit. I watched The Rise of Skywalker. But I enjoyed. A little different than what I expected.
Which one was that?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, yeah. I really liked that.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. A little different than what I expected, but I did like it. The Men in Black International, I got through about 15 minutes
terrible.
of it. Whew,
there's just nothing to it.
The whole...
I get a movie to fall asleep to.
Yeah, and then right after that, Thor Ragnarok was on. I was like, okay, I get why you would cast them too.
Right, why you would attempt this, yeah.
They had no chemistry.
You could tell. And then ended it all with a Far From Home rewatch, the Spider-Man.
Oh, that's a solid movie.
Yeah,
I haven't rewatched either, like Homecoming or Far From Home.
I was actually thinking about today. I think I tweeted this to TJ when people were out there doing the pick 3 on the Spider-Man movies. I think maybe I like Far From Home a little better than Homecoming, just because like even though the phantom, the spirit of Tony Stark looms large over it. At least he's not in the movie. It's still mostly about Spider-Man. And man, that Mysterio sequence is cool. Like, I don't care about the logic of it at all. It's just fucking awesome.
It did remind me like the old PlayStation 2 game when you got like this awesome Mysterio scene, which was awesome.
Yeah,
I haven't watched Far From Home enough to like give it that. Like, I like it better. Like, I've seen it Homecoming a lot, especially compared to the MCUs.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
That's fair. That's probably true about me too. Honestly, I've definitely not seen it as many times as I've seen Homecoming because my son was obsessed with Homecoming for a while.
Yeah,
I have the Blu-ray and it's on Stars currently, so definitely give that a. Because guess what? I'm not going to do watch all the MCU movies in succession. Just too much of.
God, no! What do you do? Get a life? I've been continuing my my history movie watch. So we did like The Sound of Music, did The Patriot. I just finished Braveheart tonight. Hitting Braveheart and Tombstone, those were the two I really wanted to get to. Those are like two of my childhood favorites. They just they both came out within like a year of each other. They struck really hard with me when I was like 12. You know what I mean?
I wanted to ask you, what did he think of Braveheart specifically?
He really liked it. You know, every movie, he's 9. So every time we finish a movie, that's like the new best movie he's ever seen. No matter what he doesn't have much of a grading scale.
Was he like, ooh, a butt? Ooh, oops. There's a butt shot.
Because we got more into the history movies and stuff, now he's watched some movies. He hasn't reacted too hard to like the nudity, but everything's been real banal nudity. Like, I think the longest on-screen nudity he's been exposed to now would probably be The Shining. But then it ends hard with that old granny, you know. So it's like it kind of takes a little bit.
That's a boner killer right there.
Right.
That'll ruin it.
I just remember being his age and like knowing to be like ooh, but not like in a like you're just having more of like a ooh nudity, not like a nudity.
Well, I talked with him about. I didn't mean for this to turn into a parenting thing, but I had talked to him before because he knew there were certain movies he wasn't allowed to watch, and it was basically we were getting to the point where he was allowed to see more and more violence. He was allowed to see more and more because he understood the difference between reality and movies and this, that, and the other, and he knew there were some things that we were holding back, and that part of it was like because. There's a level of maturity I expected. If every time a boob came on screen, you were going to for 10 minutes, I'm not going to fucking sit there and watch some of my favorite movies with you acting like that. Fuck that. I'm not doing it. So, there was like a certain level like he had to get to, and I feel like we've reached it, at least, to the best I can tell.
That's awesome. I just have a real quick story that reminds me of him being his age. It's like one of like a clear memories. I remember because like it was probably like that or so, like 9 or 10. And I was watching more like R-rated comedies and things because I wasn't getting the sexual innuendos or things like that in them. I remember we went to the movie theaters to go see The Spy Who Shagged Me. Speaking of Austin Powers, in the summer, and Scary Movie was out at the time. And I was like, Mom, I want to see that. And she's like, no, like no. I remember she's like, okay, well, and we like peeked into the window of like the doors for the movie, and it was a scene where they were like mimicking Cruel Intentions, but with the hot dog like sucking off. And I remember her going, "Yep, you're not seeing that one."
Like, come on.
That's hilarious. That's good stuff.
And then years later, it made sense.
I actually got to see that movie with a buddy of mine and his mother that was visiting because he was raised by his grandmother. So the mom, every time that would visit, she would try to be cool. So she took him to like an R-rated, and she took me with him. So my mom didn't talk to her for a while after that.
That's hilarious.
Nice.
Oh, one more thing I watched on quarantine that I didn't want to forget, guys. I fucking revisited Field of Dreams because I'm a dad. This ties into being a dad.
Your tweet.
It's so good. It's a boomer wet dream for sure. It's all about how important the like movements of the 60s were and how like deep and how they were changing the world, man, and this, that, and the other, and also that ultimate boomer thing of like reconnecting with your dad and like having and baseball like... and dads are the most important thing, and it was great though. I fucking loved it. No shade. It was so fun. I just still enjoy it. I knew it every moment was coming. And I just like was so excited to see the next thing. I don't know.
The boomers at that time were like 30 to like 40, so that's like peak I'm rediscovering.
Right. Well, it fits very sweetly in like Forrest Gump territory where it's like now we're all ready to revisit and pat ourselves on the back for all the cool stuff we've done, and you know, it's fine. They made some good films.
Cool. So also what has happened, do you guys care that Sam Raimi is directing Doctor Strange 2? That actually is some news that had happened during this.
People seem excited about it. He just hasn't directed a movie I liked since Spider-Man 2.
I think Drag Me to Hell's solid, but it's...
See, people like that, and I've only ever seen it once, but I remember it being, like, laughably bad when I saw it, too. And then, like...
It's comical. It's not it's his worst movie of that time.
Maybe I just wasn't in the right mindset. Like maybe I was expecting something too different, and then you know what I mean. But Oz Great and Powerful is not good.
Movie sucks. Raimi with CGI is the worst.
Right, and I'm saying like, and that is basically what Doctor Strange is. It's a big budget movie from a pre-existing IP about a wizard in a fantasy world. Like that's what he fucking made. Like,
yeah, but this is dark. This is dark, bro. Okay. And it's on the edge of madness.
It's been a long time since Sam Raimi did something dark.
It's so on the edge of madness. It might work.
But also, hey, George Miller came back. You know, Ridley Scott, peaks and valleys. So you never count a good director out, and we all know he's got skills. So
the silliest tweet I saw.
I'll trust him.
Yeah. The silliest tweet I saw about it though was being like, "Man, I hope Marvel just backs away and lets him make the movie he wants to make." Listen, no one's ever made the movie they wanted to make in the MCU since Iron Man 1.
James Gunn has probably got the closest.
Yeah.
And Taika probably.
Yeah.
Taika and Gunn are the closest. But
Thor was like dead.
And even him
after Thor: The Dark World, they were like, "Well, we got to make a third movie. Fuck it, just do whatever."
And even Taika has mentioned all the things that they didn't allow him to do. So even that shit show, it wasn't fully him. He was reined in.
Sure, they let him film it. They're just like, "Don't put it in there. You can film it if you want.
You can film whatever you want.
Yeah,
it just can't be in the movie."
Yeah.
I haven't said that's a sequel. James Gunn also had a tweet about sequels that are better than the originals. Any ones you guys want to throw out there? Kind of
Blade-2.
That was on the list. To be fair, but the one that drew my attention because somebody wrote a whole article about it, of course, was Blade Runner 2049, and I thought that was a bold choice just because the original is such a kind of like revered classic, and but I kind of. Like I said, I'm not enough of a film buff to be even able to say better or worse, but I know I enjoyed Blade Runner more after 2049. 2049 was my favorite movie of 2017. Very good stuff.
So good. It's very good.
And he had what I consider the right opinion where he said that it's a fact that Alien and Aliens are equal.
Yeah. And he also picked, he didn't have Terminator 2 on the list, so he thinks Terminator's better.
I think he had a tweet after that that was like, "Oh, I forgot Terminator 2. It should be on here."
T2 is definitely.
I do agree with you, TJ. Though Terminator is the superior film.
Yeah, but I love T2.
Yeah, of course. Movies. Not about that.
Yeah.
I've been trying to think of more so like comedies because they're so much harder to have better sequels in the comedy world. The closest that comes to
comedy sequels that are even good, let alone better.
The closest that comes to my mind is 22 Jump Street.
Next Friday.
But 21 is, I think they're equally as good.
Again, good, but no way better.
No.
Same thing with Wayne's World 2. Like, I always consider Wayne's World 2 an exceptional comedy sequel, but it's definitely not better.
No.
There's a movie that's at the top, like the tip of my tongue that's like completely better. Oh, horror. The second Hannibal movie. I mean, nobody near like Masterpiece or Classic in the same like pantheon we're talking. The first Hannibal's trash. The second one they made that they let the dude who did Dr. Sleep do, Flanagan, I think, did that. It's really good movie.
Somebody got me with both that one and the Ouija sequel, and they were both. I heard that about both of them. Hey, this is better. The first movie was bad, but the sequel's actually a lot better, and they both still sucked ass. So it's like better than a piece of shit is still pretty much a piece of shit.
I'm trying to bring it out of just the usual.
I like Bill and Ted sequel.
Do you?
Yeah, I really love the death
play
and the clones.
The Easter Bunny scene is fucking whole like scene where they're going through a different like levels of hell.
On his list, which I don't think that I can't abide by that.
No,
I think Shrek 2 is better than Shrek 1.
He has Final Destination 2. I don't know. I think the first Final Destination 2 is fun and it's got some cool kills in it. I think overall, the first Final Destination is probably a better movie.
Scream 1 or Scream 2?
Scream 1.
Scream 1, of course.
Scream 1 all day.
So Shrek,
Mad Max Fury Road over
Shrek 4.
But I think he was specifically talking about second entries, just to be fair.
Oh, this isn't better than the original, but Shrek 4 is a great movie. Shrek 3 is terrible. It goes Shrek 2, Shrek 1, Shrek 3, Shrek 2, and then the worst, and then a 50-foot drop.
People argue Toy Story 2 is better than Toy Story 1.
Toy Story 2 was on James Gunn's list too.
Yeah. I think it's more of those adult thematic themes.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, guys. Jaws 2, okay? The teenager, Roy Scheider, and an electric cable. Let's do this.
With you.
Child's Play 2. I know we've talked Chucky to death on this podcast, but
it's definitely my favorite. I don't know if it's better. That's such a hard decision to make, you know?
Well, that's like, I know you wouldn't agree with it. It's like Alien and Aliens. Like, I think Alien is better, but a lot of people will stand by Aliens as the better movie.
That's why I'll just stick with James Gunn on that one, too. They're equal now. From now on, they're both two perfect films.
Yeah. Separate but equal, right?
Yeah. Beautiful. All right, we ready to move on and move into actual topics? Let's get on with this.
Jusef has a game for us.
So it's been a minute, like the kids say. It's been a minute since I've done a game show for you guys or a movie trivia show or whatever the case may be. So I wanted to put the guys against each other. And the rules of the games are as follows: I'm gonna vaguely describe either a plot point, or make fun of a plot point in the movie. You have to wait till I finish and I say, name that movie. And the audience is going to say it with me, right? Right, audience? Okay, and so, because the reason why is because Joe is famously cutting in and out today. Is kind of a rough day for him. So what I want from the guys is, after I say name that movie and the audience with me says it, you say your name. Whoever I hear first, it's going to be on me. It's going to be the one that answers. If it's incorrect, the second one that I kind of vaguely heard is going to get it. And then if he is incorrect, then the last person says it. All right. Are you guys ready?
Yes. TJ.
Oh my God. Today's energy is off the roof. All right, first movie. In-flight meal can be very dangerous, even when you have inflatable backups. Name that movie.
Joe.
Brian.
Flight Plan.
No. Brian.
Airplane.
That is correct. All right, next one.
Cheater.
Unlike Baby, Mike can be put into a corner.
Joe.
Name that movie.
Joe
didn't wait till he said name that movie. I don't know. He should probably be disqualified.
He's eliminated.
And I would like to hear the question again now because I've been thrown off.
Joe has been eliminated.
All right, whatever. Me and my martini will just hang out.
All right, it's TJ and Brian. And let this be a lesson to all of you. You'll be eliminated. Unlike Baby, Mike can be put into a corner. Name that movie.
Brian.
Yep.
The Blair Witch Project.
That is correct.
That's a great fucking question.
That was a good one.
I thought it was Monsters, Inc., if anyone wants to know. Because he's so tiny, you can just put him up. All right. So am I out? Am I fully out?
No.
No, just for that round.
Oh, okay.
You've been slapped on the wrist. Now you can come back.
Okay, good. I was just going to get drunk.
Two, Brian, 0, TJ, and Joe. All right, next one.
Used to it.
What happens inside a tent may stay in the tent, but it will haunt your relationships for the rest of your life.
Joe.
That movie. Damn. Motherfucker, you're out. The fuck out of here.
Brian.
I did this rule for you.
I know you did.
Breaking it.
Brian. Oh, damn it.
Brokeback Mountain.
That is correct.
God damn it. I was going to say Backcountry.
It's a good movie. I like
Backcountry.
All right. Brian is running away with it. Joe, what did you have Brokeback Mountain?
I did.
All right. This one is easy. While tigers are all the rage right now, this man handled one in sandals.
TJ.
Motherfucker. Name that movie.
Brian. Gladiator.
Yes, sir.
I was going to say The Hangover.
I said sandals.
Yeah, these are really these are good questions. They're written very well.
All right, thank you. I have a website if you like my writing. Next one. Property line of this real estate market is marked by the African sun. Name that movie.
TJ.
Blood
Diamond.
No.
Brian.
The
Lion King.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Everything the light touches is our kingdom.
Why have you never done that voice for us?
That was pretty good.
I got a boner.
Oh, you like that one? Thanks.
This one is easy. Brian.
I was just watching Field of Dreams, remember?
Brian kind of already won this, unless one of you two go on a rampage. This one is easy. Who needs 2 ankles when you're a writer? Name that movie.
Joe. Misery.
That is correct. All right, this one is topical because, I'm edgy. I'm an edgy comedian. Here I go. Homosexual pedophile director directs homosexual pedophile actor that ends in a big twist. Name that movie.
Brian. The Usual Suspects.
That is correct. Super edgy. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 more. You're gonna go through them? All right. Next one. It doesn't matter how many men die or how many moms have to bury their sons, as long as one mom doesn't have to bury all of hers.
TJ.
Brian. Oh, see, I jumped the gun. I did it.
Joe.
No, he still didn't name that movie.
Name that movie, Joe.
All right,
You're in it. Do it.
That's Mom. We need to talk about Kevin. I don't know.
TJ.
Saving Private Ryan.
That's correct.
Hey, all right. They both got on the board.
All right. Imaginary steak is better than flavorless slop. Name that movie.
TJ.
Brian.
TJ.
Hook.
Brian.
The Matrix.
That is correct. I got 2 more. This one is, you see, the trick to being a true gangster is speaking with cotton balls in your mouth. Name that movie.
Joe.
Brian.
It's The Godfather, like Joe.
That is correct.
He said God.
And the last one. Apparently, Vegas casinos are not autistic proof. Name that movie.
Joe.
Damn it. I said Echo.
Joe.
Rain Man.
That is correct. So,
God damn it.
Joe won.
That question was sponsored by Autism Awareness Month.
Joe got 2, TJ got 1, and Brian got all of the rest. This has been Name That Movie.
I'd like to do this again.
Yeah, that was a fun one. I mean, not just
you wrote
one.
Those really, and I'm being condescending. You wrote those out really well. Like they're.
Thank you. My favorite was The Lion King.
That was clever.
Yeah, I got that.
Brought out my James Earl Jones impression, so good for you.
So now that the Brian won, how about we do Brian's topic?
Yeah, Brian. What's your topic?
I came up with a topic while I was watching this week's movie, Blade-2. This will be a minuscule spoiler. It features a legend in his own right, Donnie Yen, as a member of the Blood Pack. This was actually my first Donnie Yen movie, so I was very excited.
One of his first movies.
And even though he unceremoniously gets killed off screen, it did introduce me to all his other work, so I can't complain too much. But it got me thinking, what scene like that? Like, I wanted to see Donnie Yen. You know he's going to die. He's part of the Blood Pack. But, like, I want to see him go out in a blaze of glory. I don't want to see, like, just a cutaway and then he's just getting sucked on by that big guy with the hammer. I want to see, like, a badass fight scene. And so I guess my question was, what's something that happens off screen that you would have liked to have seen? And I'll even just cards on the table because the first one that came to my mind, I'll just throw it out there. And I have a couple others we can talk about if we get around to it. But Sonny versus the Predator from Predator.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I get the trope. We talked about it when we were talking about Blade-2. You know, he's a badass. He's the guy that even the other dudes in Arnold's group all respect. They all look up to him. So like in that moment, he throws down his gear and he wraps that thing around his hand and he cuts his chest and you're like, yeah, this is going to fucking happen. Cut to a distant scream because the idea is that the Predator is so badass. He just made short work of the most badass dude. But in my mind, since I was a kid, I was like, I want to see that fight. I want to see that shit go down. And
that's a good one, actually.
And that's just, and because it's same thing with Donnie Yen, same principle, you know? So anyway, what about you guys?
Jusef, you start.
Anyone.
My
episode. Fuck it.
So my head immediately went to TV, and this will be a spoiler for anybody that hasn't seen Game of Thrones. We follow a lot of fucking characters. One of them, which is one of the most intriguing ones, and one of the more complex ones, is Stannis Baratheon. We see him betray his brothers. We see him betray his family. He even sacrifices his child. So it gets to a point that you actually want to see him die. And on the flip side, there's Brienne, who is trying to avenge her love of her life, her first king, the brother that Stannis actually killed. And they finally meet. You're going to see him fucking die, and you're going to see her fulfill one of her vows. And then it cuts away. And they don't show that he died. And one of the main reasons why I kind of hate it is because it created this fan speculation. Yeah, it created this Arya Jumping Man. It created this like fan speculation that he actually didn't die because she spared him and we're gonna see him again, and then you kind of buy into it like, oh, maybe they did because they've showed every major character die on screen, like, and they've glorified their deaths. Like you just see Joffrey's or this guy, the bastard. Like they killed him very badass, and then Stannis is like
characters.
cut to black, and you're done. So once you're like in the final season, and you're like, oh, maybe he isn't coming back.
He's gonna show up.
Oh,
yeah, I definitely.
He really did die off screen.
It was cheap for sure, definitely, and that's a show that became like well into its seasons when that happened. Or didn't, lack thereof, you have to stop blaming budget because they had carte blanche with however much money they wanted to spend. So it was like, well, budget limitations. You don't have budget limitations,
dude. Even if it was budget, like they didn't have enough money to have one blood or one CGI, they could have shown the tree, his shoulders, and her sword just going against the tree, and that's it. You didn't even have to show the death.
I don't want to hear about budget. I watched that Into the Badlands on A&E, and if they give people money to make that show, they should have been able to show whatever bloody badass shit they wanted to. People are fucking flying around, kicking and fighting, and sword fighting. It's crazy.
Any movie that comes to your mind?
Honestly,
this is a movie show. We don't talk about fucking TV.
Well, the one, that's why I asked Brian, does it have to happen within the movie or between films? And he gave me the leeway. So the leeway I'm going to take is Sarah Connor. Her death between T2 and T3, she kind of just goes away. And it's like, it's so underwhelming, especially how badass she became from 1 to 2. So you see her transition from like the final girl-ish to this fucking badass woman, and then a memory out of nowhere.
And then a casket full of guns. She turned into that casket full of guns.
Yeah.
She was cremated, they said, in Mexico.
Yeah, so that's kind of like that was the other one that I had in my head.
Yeah, they kind of just forgot about that. That's something that's in Sarah Connor Chronicles too, is that she has cancer, and that was kind of an inevitability that they kept in the Sarah Connor Chronicles. Was like she knew that eventually she dies of cancer, and that's kind of what they had in T3. In Dark Fate, apparently that's not a thing. She was fine.
Well,
she found the cure for cancer. How about you, TJ?
Get your kid shotgunned by a Terminator. It's apparently
yeah.
That happens. All your elements are gone.
Yeah. The 12-year-old boy and me always want to see the kid have sex with Lisa in Weird Science. I mean, they kind of like lead into it. I always wanted to see it. That's just me.
Yeah, but you know that was probably some pathetic ass sex anyway. Like, you know, it was
So you're saying that if he would have had that sex, he would have died. That's what you're saying. That's how we tie into this subject. It would have been too much. It would have been too perfect of a bonus session that he would have died immediately.
Another one that always got to me is a movie we like to talk about too, Deep Blue Sea. There's a scene where Thomas Jane's character is supposed to get one of the sharks onto a shark lift by himself. And he goes into the lagoon where the three sharks are actually all together. And he tricks it by doing the whole like tuba gear on the thing as the bubbles go, so the shark attacks that. Then he hits it with a trank. Then at that point, he just all of a sudden has the shark on the fucking shark carrier.
I want to know how he guide that tranquilized shark onto the platform by himself and shit.
With the other two giant smart sharks around him at the same time. And then Thomas Jane gets the shark onto the thing by himself. That's something I've always wanted to see that's always bothered me. Because one, when he traps the shark, he's like in the middle.
Most exciting part of the movie. TJ's like, finally.
Another one, I'm just going to throw another one out there. Dark Knight, amazing movie. But there's the scene where Joker kills Michael Jai White, and he just has like 6-inch blade inside of his mouth, and they do the loud like cord hit, and then he just drops to the ground. I'm like, well, that's not gonna kill anybody. It'll maim him pretty good. Yeah, sure. But like, there's got
not gonna bleed out from getting your face. Getting a Glasgow smile ain't gonna give you.
Honestly, knowing
Joker already survived that.
That's how twisted. That's how twisted the Joker is.
Knowing
he
the
can
event,
kill you.
I bet you
6-inch knife on your cheek.
I could almost bet you that like there was probably plans of like he's coming back in the third like movie that was supposed to be planned without the death of Ledger. Like there's a lot of things set up in Dark Knight.
Michael Jai White's character would come back.
Who the hell knows? Because he didn't die.
I mean, he clearly fell down and was told he's dead.
He passed out from the
supposed to be Black Mask.
What?
So. No, he's not.
Definitely not supposed to be black.
Oh, I'm sorry. His name
I was just making a joke.
That character's name
because he's black.
I
get it.
It's, yeah. Your old Orlando Joneses.
Here's another one just for fun, which I'm sure Joe doesn't have this one, or Brian. I don't know who.
You want a man.
Just because of pictures I've seen from behind the scenes, and obviously the movie went through a whole bunch of shit behind the scenes, but I always wanted to see the Kittner boy actually, like, the shark take him down. Like, they had that whole scene where it's, like, the background picture of the actual shark engulfing somebody. I don't know if it was a kid or, like, a smaller adult. But shit like that. I always love, like, stuff like that. You got Brian.
Joe. Oh, yeah. So mine, it's not two, but one's. It's not a specific event. It's kind of the whole movie. And in the last Hunger Games is the first one that came to my mind. It's like the second. All right, so the second part of that third one they shouldn't have split. They're like, you're waiting for these battles or whatever, but every time they go to battle, she just blacks out and wakes up in a hospital, and it happens like every 20 minutes. So you don't see any fighting. It's just a blackout, wake up in a hospital, and you got to explain to what happened. Pissed me off.
That sounds like Godzilla.
That sounds terrible.
And then someone was like, I remember complaining about it.
Any of the fights in Godzilla 2014. That's a good one.
I remember complaining about that movie, like being like, "That's why I didn't like it." And somebody would be like, "Well, it's explaining the books." I'm like, "Well, as a movie viewer, I didn't read the fucking books.
I shouldn't have to do homework for you to watch your movie, like to make your movie make sense."
So that
Twilight was tight.
So that one always pissed me off. Yeah.
I have a couple more honorable mentions that I thought of here. Hannibal Lecter's escape in Silence of the Lambs. We kind of see the beginning of it, but the whole this kind of goes to TJ's thing. Like, give me that horror, baby. Show me that face slicing. Show me that crazy shit. I mean, obviously the reveal is so good, but that's a fun one. And then this one is kind of like what Jusef was talking about. It's not in the movie, but it's kind of more of after the movie type thing. But the horror that was Truman's life after the Truman Show, like going out into the real world and being super famous, and also with what we know now about how like reality stars get treated, like his life would have been a fucking nightmare. He's going from like this idyllic Pleasantville style life to that.
That's a good movie though to write.
Truman Show's a great movie. No.
I mean, the sequel, like him dealing with this post-traumatic stress disorder of like feeling watched, and
I don't know. I wouldn't want to step on Ed TV's toes though. Careful, guys.
Oh, that movie was so bad. I still like it.
I think that's all I had. Anybody else got any more? Did we get?
I forgot what I was going to say.
In Aliens 3, they get killed from Aliens 2 to Aliens.
Oh yeah, the unactual follow up to Aliens, sure. But I don't want somebody to make that movie. So don't. I mean, it's going to happen because those shitty things keep. Well, although I don't know, Terminator might have just saved us from that. Terminator Dark Fate may have saved us from somebody doing the reboot of Aliens now, because it didn't do very well. So fingers crossed, guys.
I got a real good one. Any movie where divorced parents or split parents at the end get back together, I want to know if they stay together throughout the
liar. Like, do they have some other kind of magic that keeps them together now? I don't.
He definitely wished for them.
All right. I can't think of the other one, so not as important. You want to lead us in a little movie fight?
Sure. I couldn't really think of a topic. We had some freebies. Jusef was throwing around some smart ones, but I just wanted to have some fun for an episode. Jusef had a good game.
I'm sorry.
So I figured we'll do a little movie fights. Joe's going to host it between me, Jusef, and Brian, involving best third installments of a franchise, I guess.
I'm going to lose again to Brian. Yeah. Actually, no, last time I lost to TJ.
Let me get my stopwatch out.
Do your best Hal Rudnick impression.
Yeah, right, guys. Let me do this fucking character. I'm a wizard. And now I'm an old ship captain.
Oh, I'm a scientist.
Jokes like that you could write for the Big Show.
I'm your old grandma now. Hey, guys. I defended a fucking point.
When I was a kid growing up, my first language is, Spanish. And bicho in Spanish is penis. So Big Show, fun fact, fun.
It does kind of look like a big old penis.
Yeah.
All right, so big penises. All right. Since this is TJ's topic, I want to start with TJ.
But go ahead to say what's the.
The topic is best third movie in a franchise / trilogy. I want to just. You guys are going to fight. You do your arguments in the order of how our episodes go. We're back. Back. All right. The movie fight rules.
Seamless.
All right.
Like nothing happened.
So, best third movie in a franchise trilogy. We're going to start off with Jusef, TJ, and Brian. This way, it stays consistent with the order of we've been going of our hosting episodes.
Yeah.
So, when I say go, Jusef, you go on with your pick. And then I'm going to stop you at 2 minutes.
All
right. Ready, set, Flyover fights.
Oh, That threw me off. My pick is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, the third installment of the 8-movie franchise helmed by Academy Award-winning director Alfonso Cuarón. This entry is arguably what shifted the entire franchise from what it was a cookie-cutter, family-friendly Christopher Columbus franchise into this dark, mysterious, magic-filled, and unique world that the rest of the franchise would live in. It also grew from there with its audience, so it became more adult, and it also brought in more adult fans, the ones that saw it as a YA franchise that didn't want to do nothing with them, and it also cemented itself as arguably the best YA franchise ever put to film. It's not that big of a competition, but still. Cuarón and cinematographer Michael Serson expanded the grounds of Hogwarts and created this cool visuals and tone and shot composition and color saturation that just permeated throughout the entire franchise. The use of the tree, the use of the bridge, and all that fun stuff. The editing, the camera movements, the one-take shots from Diagon Alley, and the one that goes through the mirror into the classroom. And even with all those technical aspects that I consider like almost a masterpiece, the story itself is fantastic. Harry gets another layer into his character arc. He learns the betrayal of his parents. He learns he has family still in Sirius Black. He learns about rage and wanting revenge and wanting to kill Wormtail, and he goes to that limit of becoming the evil person that's living inside of him. And it also adds that story arc that would permeate again throughout the franchise, that is Sirius Black connection with him being his godfather, and that connection that would be further explored throughout the franchise. So this installment. Go ahead. That 2 minutes is a lot.
Yeah, no.
This is a long ass time.
God damn it, man! I was like, when is he gonna stop me?
All right, no, good stuff.
Thank you.
All right.
Oh, actually, I let you go for 7 minutes though, accidentally.
Whoops.
Was that a thought? I'll ever give everyone this leeway. Was that a thought you wanted to finish up to help, or you did it on?
Okay.
All right. TJ, when I say Flyover fights, you go. Ready? Flyover fights.
I took the easy way out with this one. I went with a movie that probably everyone was thinking in their head. It's definitely the best third film. It's got probably one of the best leads ever, with one of the best writers ever in John Hughes. I'm going with Christmas Vacation. This is what we need right now in this dark, dark time of being stuck in a house alone. If you're going to be stuck in the house alone, be stuck in the house alone with your family on Christmas. And why not it be the Griswolds? You got probably the best kids of the franchise, and John Galecki and Juliette Lewis. You have Clark and Beverly. Well, Clark, but you know his fucking name in real life. Beverly D'Angelo coming back with probably the strongest script out of all of them, with actual heart behind it. Love the comedic takes from it are incredible. Randy Quaid as Uncle Eddie is probably the best Uncle Eddie you're going to get. I mean, it's kind of hard to top some of the ones he's done before, with this one, from all of his own classic lines, the shitter's full, just from him, the classic look of him. Let's see, what else? 2 minutes is really long. What else is good about this movie? Oh, it's a really good fucking movie about Christmas and family.
It's a goddamn Christmas classic.
Time.
All right,
that's what I got.
You could go on you could use your 40 seconds to go on the defense, but
it's so good that you can't talk for it up for 2 minutes.
All right. So Christmas Vacation, Prisoner of Azkaban. Brian, when I say Flyover fights, you start. All right. Coming to the channel soon. Just kidding. All right. 1, 2, Flyover fights.
My pick is one of the greatest. It should have been the finale to a trilogy. I had a lot of picks here, by the way. This was a tough choice, but I'm going with an all-timer for me, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. This is a great movie. I know I cracked on boomers and their love for fathers and son movies, but we all love a good father and son movie. I mean, Honey Boy came out this year and everybody raved about it. They love that shit. We love to see people reconcile their past. We love to see a man who has been an icon kind of humbled in the eyes of his father and seeking approval. But this is also just a great, fun Indiana Jones movie. Temple of Doom took it a little darker. Not everybody loved it. This one definitely comes back to like the more adventurous, high-spirited feel of Raiders of the Lost Ark. The introduction again of his father, of Henry Jones Sr., played by Sean Connery, not only kind of also reinvigorated Sean Connery's career. Was a big part of his late resurgence. I love the love interest in this one. Marion Ravenwood's great, but she's kind of a kid, a wounded girl, and however people feel about Winnie is how they feel about Winnie. But Elsa is a love interest and an antagonist. She brings a lot to it. I really love, I think the trials at the end are super iconic. They speak to the character they tell you so much about the man Indiana Jones and there's such a crucial plot point on top of that. That's just great filmmaking there. Steven Spielberg peaking. I mean, he went from this and then he went right into that double hit of Schindler's List and Jurassic Park. I mean, the man was flying super high.
Stop. Anything else you want to add?
No. I'm fine.
I thought you want to finish. All right.
I ended pretty strong.
Cool. So you should start it. So TJ, give me your rebuttal. You have 1 minute to rebuttal each film.
What was Jusef's pick again?
Harry Potter, Prisoner of Azkaban. All right.
Okay.
Start now.
The only good thing about The Last Crusade was River Phoenix Parr as a young Indy. Other than that, the whole movie's missing entire sidekick. It's missing Short Round. Sean Connery does not fill the shoes of Short Round, not even the littlest bit. When it comes to Prisoner of Azkaban, you finally see them as almost young adults, and nothing happens between Hermione and Harry. Very disappointing. Also, Gary Oldman just steals the movie, so it just could have been Sirius Black and the Prisoner of Sirius Black. It's, I never saw The Last Crusade, and Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite Harry Potter.
How can you have never seen Last Crusade? What's wrong with you?
I just watched the first 15 minutes of them on the train, and I'm like, okay.
Thank you for bringing that part up. Now I don't have to because that's an amazing part of Last Crusade. That part's so good they tried to make a shitty TV show off of it.
Okay, Dr. Jones, hold on to your potatoes.
All right, before we get less racist, Brian, give me your rebuttals when I say, let's be racist. All right, 1, 2, let's be racist.
I know Prisoner of Azkaban was a turning point for the franchise, but I would also argue that setting that tone for the franchise did the rest of the franchise a disservice. Every movie from there on out has that same gray-blue color palette. We lose the life that was from the Columbus movies. I get it that they were for younger kids, but that was okay. Like, we could have kept some of the life in them, as far as the movie that TJ picked, Christmas Vacation. Christmas Vacation is great. That's an amazing movie, but arguably it's also much different of a movie than the original Vacation. It's hard to say better. That's a hard R comedy, Christmas Vacation is a more family-oriented thing. I would also say in defense of my own movie that it is coming off. Damn.
You could save that for
my final
closing.
And
TJ has been saving all his time for the closing.
You don't think I'm thinking of something right now?
And Jusef, when I say okie dokie, Mr. Jones, you start, all right? Okie dokie, Mr. Jones.
Yes, Christmas Vacation is a wonderful classic story. It does have a lot more heart than the entire fucking franchise, but it does use the same formula that the original does. It even closes on a kidnapping. It has the fucking SWAT coming in, and everything is forgiven by a rich millionaire. So to say that is like the best is just simply saying that he used what worked from the other ones. So it's not that original. It borrows a lot. Last Crusade is wonderful, but it's held in higher regard from people that wanted that magic and wonder from Temple of Doom. I think is far inferior than the first one. The relationship between father and son is kind of glossed over. I'm not expecting like super deep relationship things, but for it to be like him resolving all these daddy issues that he's been carrying under his fucking hat, they kind of just gloss it over, and in the end, he's like, "Oh, you did it, son. You're good." And as for the romantic relationship, I didn't buy it for a second.
All right. So, Brian.
Closer.
No, I'm sorry. TJ. Who's on the closer?
Brian.
Brian, yeah. Brian.
Yeah. Yes.
You are going to get another minute to close out your argument. So, when I say, it is final, you start. It is decided. No, that's wrong. It is final.
That's great. I don't know what that's from. I think the one thing I was going to say that I thought my movie had a higher hill to climb to be the best third. More well regarded. The first two films are more well regarded. You know, the first two Harry Potters did well, but again, like you said, they were looking for a change. They were looking for an update. 3 made it legit. Good for them, but you know, they weren't expecting much. Of course, it's the best out of 3 when the first two are that. Vacation was great, but European, we all know, dropped the ball. They were looking for a big comeback. They slapped the Christmas onto what Jusef already pointed out, which is basically the plot of Vacation, and they sold a movie that is funny, so everybody will watch it every year, but it can't be the best. Last Crusade, amazing character development for Indy. We see him as a young boy. We see him as a man. We see him grow into a man his father can be proud of. I think Jusef's crazy. There's so much there between the two of them, not to mention the fact that they're wiener cousins.
Stop.
Like all good dad and son
all good father and son duos on film. They've banged the same broad.
Eskimo bros.
Jusef, when I say Roger Moore is terrible, you start. All right? Roger Moore is terrible.
I disagree with Brian that it sucked the life out of it. Even though it has this grayish, bluish tint, there's a lot of magic and wonder in there. The animals that they interact with, the drugs that they do in the bus.
And Fantastic Beasts.
Oh, we can interrupt now? Give me the 20 seconds. Give me the 20 seconds that I'm losing because this is asshole.
5 seconds tops.
You get 15 seconds.
God damn it. Even if it's not a Harry Potter film, it's a fucking amazing movie. Technically speaking, Alfonso Cuarón just knocked out of the fucking park. It set the bar so fucking high that everybody was just chasing that fucking high. And even if they reached minimum, like scratched it from the rest on out, the movies were better for it because they were trying to chase that high that Alfonso Cuarón set. Time.
Right, we're under. Sure. And
it's a better movie.
And TJ, you're going to close this out, buddy. When I say the shitter's full, you start.
Fill it.
The shitter is full.
I mean, guys, I might not be the most knowledgeable, and I might not know all the facts about this movie at all. I just think it's really good. Joe proved my point right there, though. He used one of the lines. Is he going to pick me to win? I don't know, Margot. Again, it still works every time you do it. Great neighbors. I mean, this movie, again, is just about family and love and committing to buying presents for your family that you can't afford yet because you think your job's going to pay you, and then they end up stiffing you. It's an everyday, blue-collar family movie that you can sit down with your dad, your uncle, your racist uncle, the uncle that's actually really nice, the one that might have touched you at some point in time. I'm not talking about my own family, but I think this is a really good movie, and I probably should have picked.
You pull back, and it's just one uncle.
all one.
And all in all, I probably should have picked Captain America: Civil War.
I can't believe you didn't pick Thor Ragnarok.
Time.
I don't like that movie that much.
All right, guys. Good fights. I will play my cards now.
Growing up means feeling bad for Todd and Margot when you watch Christmas Vacation.
They're good hipsters living their own
They're
life.
just trying to live their lives. They got nice things.
Yuppies.
They're just some childless yuppies. They didn't do anything wrong. You know what their worst crime is? Being annoyed by an asshole. That is the thing that the movie decides is worth punishing them for.
Even the neighbor was nice. He's like, "Hey Clark, where are you gonna put that tree? Like, bend over and I'll show you." He's like,
Exactly.
"Just make conversation."
So antagonistic.
Wearing rubber suits, which are illegal.
Tracksuits.
They have rubber suits on.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, so
potatoes.
Playing my cards here. TJ, you picked my favorite movie of the three. One I would never even consider being the best as a trilogy, but when you look at it, it is the third. So props there for picking that. Brian, as always, you know how to fight. You gave good arguments and fights. And Indiana Jones, I think it's the second best movie. And it's not what I think or the argument you gave. It's all argument. But of all else, Jusef's was always, growing up too, was my least favorite Prisoner of Azkaban. I didn't get it. And based on his argument and his rebuttal, it makes me want to go back and actually rewatch it. And why I say that is actually in his pitch, he spoke about elements of why it's good, not just the emotion in it, specific scenes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He punched back with some other answers too. So I'm going to give the point to Jusef of this movie fight. I think
Suck a dick, Brian.
Fans, comment down below. You know who won that fight. We all saw.
I want to let you know that
going
in, if it was based on the three, for me, it's always the weakest of those three.
So I had good arguments, Brian. Suck a dick. Let's talk Blade-2.
Yo.
This was fun.
A guy that just watched all the James Bonds and wants more Connery in my life. So, you had an easy sell.
True. It's a good one.
I love how TJ.
So good.
I love how TJ had 4 minutes to talk, and he probably talked for 1.
Hey, Goldfinger.
He's like, come on, you guys know it's good.
No.
Hey, Goldfinger, if you were to say James Bond's is a trilogy in the 60s, is the best one out of the three they made.
Of course.
I have to revisit Connery era. It's been a while.
My other picks that I struggled with were Die Hard with a Vengeance, Infinity War, and Logan.
Logan.
Logan doesn't count.
Why not?
It's the third of the Wolverine.
The third Wolverine movie.
Fuck yeah, it does count. You're right.
Yeah.
Because they mention it in the fucking Logan. Yeah. Fuck you, Brian.
Boom.
Ha. I actually, because
I still lost. So what's up?
I didn't think of a third movie that I like better than others. So I won't give an answer. All right, Blade-2.
Blade it up. All right, so cut to. All right, TJ. So cut in here our pre-taped interview with Wesley Snipes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that was really cool. That was really fun.
So cut it here. It was fun.
I sip a martini and goes, so Wesley,
Oh, you just
actually put your hand in the mouth of the Reaper?
Well, he texted me right now. He just said, had a lot of fun with you guys. Please have you back soon. I want to talk about... Can we go back and talk about the fan? I'm sorry, I missed out on that one.
Oh yeah, and I kind of did. I cornered him a little bit, but we are going to have him on for the Demolition Man watch along, so that'll be a blast too.
Oh my god,
it's coming soon. The Demolition Man watch along.
How long? All right, I'm gonna Joe set it up, and I'm gonna search Demolition Man.
Cool. All right, so Blade-2. I'll just give it a quick synopsis, like a couple sentences. Blade's back. He's better than ever. Directed by Guillermo del Toro. A lot more stylized. A lot more thought through.
Very horny.
It's very horny in this one. And, Whistler from the first one, Scene Stealer. He's turned
Not dead. Thought he was dead. Not dead.
But he's turned. Blade immediately gets him back, and there's a new threat to vampires on the loose. It's this other hybrid of like vampires called Reapers that are so advanced, and they're after other vampires to stay alive that the Vampire Coalition recruits Blade
predator mouths.
Help Reapers, and the Vampire Coalition are it's the enemy of my enemy is my best friend is the whole I would say like plot point, like nucleus of this movie. Yeah. And then the movie happens. So let's talk about it.
Everybody kills each other.
There's a lot of murders.
So I wanted to say how fucking amazing the intro is, because what I loved about it is typically in a second movie they kind of focus on the bad guy more than on the good guy. But in this case, we have an amazing intro to the bad guy, and then we have almost like a 10-minute scene of Blade just being a fucking badass on his own and killing everybody and being so overpowered. Like, they showcase how overpowered he is when fighting normal vampires, like the grunt work, like how easily he can kill everybody. But we also get to meet, Brian can help me with the name because I never look for names.
Norman Reedus?
The actor that plays the bad guy.
Luke Goss. Yeah.
So we meet Luke Goss in the beginning.
Novak.
Yeah, we see him turn.
Playing the victim in a vampire blood bank, and then he turns the tables on them and kills them. So I thought that was amazing. Like, they gave both of them that time to shine, and then you look forward to them meeting and fighting.
Yeah, he basically breaks off with two really great scenes before the movie even really starts in earnest. And then the movie, the first scene in the movie is kind of like the turning of Whistler, and is he going to make it? Is he going to be a vampire? Is he going to survive? We did it. TJ mentioned Norman Reedus. We meet Norman Reedus, who's Scud, the new tech guy.
Norman Reedus. I love this movie.
That's a fucking
longest time. I thought.
That's such a good point.
Such a good point, Joe.
Oh my god. The Dark Knight Returns. I love that line. He's like, the Dark Knight Returns. I was like, yeah!
Am I back? Am I back?
You're back.
All right. Saying Norman Reedus, his character, honestly, I thought he was Edward Furlong for the longest time. I swear to God. And he annoyed the shit out of me.
That's good.
Oh, he's an annoying character for sure.
I was like, man, Edward Furlong has not skipped a beat in a decade.
that same when you meet Norman Reedus, Scud, and he's smoking.
Like Scud.
He asks Blade, he wants a blaze, and Blade's like, not right now. So
sometimes
Blade smokes. Yeah.
Blade gets down. That's right. That's right. He does. No question. And you know what? I'm not surprised.
What else did you do when you're just hanging out?
This was my first intro to Norman Reedus, and then he was the Boondock Saints guy, and then he was the Walking Dead guy. So by the time he was famous for Walking Dead, I already knew him as.
I think that was the same way for me.
Yeah.
You know what surprises me about this movie is that they gave Del Toro this action-packed movie right after, like, he was doing Mimic and Chronos, and that
Mimic would have been the one before this, right?
I think so, yeah. So he didn't have like a pedigree of like action or at all.
He didn't do Devil's Backbone yet.
No, yeah, he did Devil's Backbone, and that's not like an action.
So he had a background in vampire movies, so maybe that's what they were going.
He was a horror guy.
Yeah, like they were kind of going more with that. But yeah, I agree that it was a risk, and I'm glad they took it. And it then, of course, gave us the Hellboy movies too.
So you know what's bonkers with me about this movie? Thinking about it with the time frame is, not to keep going like, oh, I just watched all the Bonds and this and that. Is watching 2003's Die Another Day, which is my least favorite Bond. It's just terrible, but it uses CGI to the max. So this era of like 2000, like 98 to like 2005, they didn't know how to use CGI, or a lot of people didn't. And then some.
He does it in this movie.
Well, no. What I was going to say is this movie, which is a year earlier, is significantly more advanced and better done than any CGI at this time.
It's definitely got some wonky moments. It's got it's got that Spider-Man rubbery person thing during that one fight sequence. But there's a lot of times where they're using a lot of special effects that they don't get credit for it, that they're actually pretty good. When he's in the tunnels and all the Reapers are coming down the tunnels on all the walls, that's really solid. But that's the actual CGI Reaper mouth. I love that they switch back and forth between the CGI and the practical Reaper mouth. That's a great idea by Guillermo.
I just want to call that out. Is watching it today, you're like, it's wonky, but it really wasn't.
Yeah, at the time, it wasn't. It was on par with Spider-Man. Like I said, I think it was as good as the CGI in Spider-Man.
Look at the CGI in fucking Black Panther only like 3 years ago.
Oh my god,
when they're fighting. Right? This is better.
Oh, but
not better, but you know what I like.
I mean, I feel like it was on par.
Yeah, the final fight in Black Panther, I literally just watched that last week too.
I'm coming off,
and it's rough. It's weird.
I'm coming off of watching Pierce Brosnan surf down a tsunami from a car part with no water on his hair.
Yeah.
To this, which are a year apart, and one had a lot more of a budget.
Well, like I said, I agree that there are spots in here that I think that like the effects, like the blow up effects of the sizzling of vampires are a little cheap looking, but I think that some of the effects when the Reapers burn up with the blue flame is actually really good. So they mix and match a little bit of that. Although Guillermo does use a lot of cool practical. I love the autopsy. The Reaper autopsy is so good.
He fucking shines with the old vampire aesthetics and all the Reapers aesthetics. Like all of them look so fucking amazing. And I was surprised that Doug Jones wasn't in this movie. But then I was like reading like his credits, and the first encounter that he has with Guillermo is Hellboy a year later.
Yeah.
So that's when their relationship became.
He would have been in this if it was.
He would have been the lead Reaper.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. He would have been. He would have been he'd have been the old vampire.
He plays the old vampire in What We Do in the Shadows TV series.
Yeah, that's right.
It is fucking amazing. Blade does
my favorite kill. Speaking of the CGI, that's emotional kill.
Really bad.
My favorite
None of that. I mean, it went straight. It was just like
my favorite moment to jump on Joe's is the wall of lights. It's so fucking. It's cinematically speaking.
Yeah, it's a really cool idea. And Guillermo's love for goggles comes in. Guillermo loves to put people in cool goggles. I love the goggles that focus in. That's really great. We haven't talked. We got to talk about the blood pack.
Can I just say my favorite moment?
Love the blood pack.
Try now, Joe.
Because I didn't actually get to say it.
Go ahead.
So without breaking in and out, even though it has some weak CGI, is when he fucking kills Ron Perlman, slices him straight up at
straight up the middle. So
that's
good.
actually my favorite kill of the whole movie, because I think it's poignant. You're leading to it, and just the fucking struggle. It's just badass.
It's got the
and it also had like an amazing It also had like an amazing fight sequence before that moment, so it's earned.
He goes rampage mode on all those like human cops with their. I love in a movie like this when you see a bunch of dudes with helmets that don't have faces, because you know they're about to get fucked up.
Oh yeah,
they're like, we don't want you to humanize these people at all. Just watch Wesley Snipes stomp the skulls of every man in this room.
I'll give my favorite scene real fast, and it leads right into what Brian was gonna say. I say my favorite scene in the movie is what Blade 1 and Blade 2 do really well, is these rave clubs that the vampires have. And that first club that they go into with the blood pack, and the lead, the vampire's daughter, is like, you're going to see things, like you're going to see feeding, or see all shit. And it just goes to slow pan as they're walking through, with people just getting like stitched up in the backs.
Yeah, the idea of like, what is body modification for a vampire that can like heal? So like their whole back is opened up and shit.
And
that's
walking
crazy.
Through the tools that you can choose if you want to go into the club with these fucking different weapons and shit like that. But yeah, blood pack.
Oh man, we talked about it with The Quick and the Dead, and this one folds right in. I love like that Magnificent Seven style where the team and they don't have time to give an elaborate intro to every person, so every character has to be differentiated enough visually and stylistically to stand out, and they do a great job in this one. We already talked about Donnie Yen, who is
with the eyeliner.
I want to say
he's got the eyeliner. He looks beautiful.
Donnie Yen was the stunt coordinator.
What?
Donnie Yen was
one of 4 stunt coordinators. We'll talk about it. I'll get there.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry, Master. I'm sorry.
So Donnie Yen is the sword.
Snowman.
He's the ninja. He's a ninja in eyeliner. He looks great. Chupa is the dude from Fast and the Furious. He's a lot thinner now, but he's huge in this. Chupa. Lighthammer, who's a big giant with a fucking hammer. Dope.
And
that's dope as hell.
Tattoo, so
he's like Maori or something. He's got some cool face tattoos. His girlfriend Erlane, she's the little one. There has to be one. She has
colored hair.
She's got shit in her hair. Priest, who's the ginger. He's the Irish guy with an attitude. So you got to have one of those.
Who doesn't remember ginger?
And then the two ninja ones who come and get Blade, which is like the princess and her like head guardian guy. Right? Did I hit everybody? Oh, and Ron Perlman, who is somehow still awesome, even though they go out of their way to make sure he's racist.
And he's still awesome and intimidating, even though every corner everybody's like laughing him off. Like Blade is always like,
I love his hairstyle too, of his mustache, Fu Manchu that goes all the way around to the back of his head and shit. That's so weird.
How hard was that to maintain? How hard was that? Like, I'm considering it.
Someone else will have, clearly someone else has to do the work.
I can legit do it.
Yeah, you can do it.
What about that whole scene where they're in the club and he just like, it'd be so easy to just have a shot, and then she goes like, he's got you. Yeah. And they just have that moment to each other.
Oh, like, dude, that scene's great.
Yeah, they set it up so well.
And it's such a Guillermo does such a good job of making Ron Perlman cool enough that it makes Blade cool that he's always got one up on him. You know what I mean? And it's like he could have just been a joke character that nobody took serious. Like we've all seen it. He could have been Starscream, who's like a lackey that's spineless and isn't like, is an underling to the head bad guy who's always trying to be a tough guy. But Ron Perlman doesn't feel that way at all. Like he feels like the legit leader of this group of badasses.
We didn't mention that group has been training to take down Blade. And now he's the leader of the group.
Right. He's teaming with a group of assassins, basically, whose whole job has been to kill them.
So that's why
Donnie Yen could have done it by himself, right? Let's get it real, right?
Oh, and that's another thing that I wanted to mention. Actually, that was one of my notes. It's kind of sad, in hindsight, obviously, that Donnie Yen and Wesley didn't have a fight together in that movie, because it would have been fucking great.
Yeah, it would have stole the show.
Something incredible.
Real missed opportunity there.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie, and this is not a fair thing I'm going to say, is why I don't care to ever see another representation of Blade. Like, it's just done so perfectly for me. I'm just saying, like, I know there was a TV show.
You can argue that you can ignore Blade 1 because they give you everything in this runtime to understand who Blade is. Why Whistler's important, like everything. Like you can just watch Blade 1, 2. Sorry.
You could also think about it this way: like if you just did what they're doing now, it's a Batman movie without a fucking his parents getting shot.
No origin.
Yeah, there's no origin.
Spider-Man. You got Spider-Man with no origin now.
Yeah, you could just do Blade 2 as if it was its own standstill. Which again, has anyone ever noticed that says Blade 2 Blood Pack on like cable TV and stuff like that?
I noticed it today.
Yeah, they must have added that recently.
Yeah, that wasn't a thing.
But one thing I wanted to add up onto that is, for why they don't exist anymore, but they were like, oh, Blade's going to be one of those Netflix shows, right? I'm so fucking happy it wasn't.
Yeah.
Every one of those Netflix shows, some were good, some had good seasons, but they lacked fun and they were lifeless. Blade would have just been this heavy fucking drama.
Super heavy.
Oh, yeah. This has so much tongue-in-cheek in it.
That's half the fun. And I don't know. That's just why I'm like, you know what? Blade 2 exists. Blade 1's solid too. Like,
yeah.
Well, half of the fun of like Blade is like the beginning of this movie, just in the first movie where he shoots down low into the wall and does the arm thing, and then like in this one he stops the Ducati after he does that crazy move, kills the vampire on it, and then slides right into his car and just blows a kiss at his car. Like you need little things like that. Sticky fingers.
and the
closing, couldn't do it.
And the closing joke of that vampire he left all the
it's great.
Yeah.
And to close it out with him killing him. Yeah. So that's
he goes into a rub and tug booth or whatever they're called.
We haven't talked enough about you mentioned him, Luke Goss, but I think we should talk a little about Novak. Great villain, excellent villain in this. He's also I mentioned this on Twitter, and TJ didn't know he's also the villain in Hellboy 2, Golden Army, and he's really good at very similar vibe where he's kind of the was it what you want to say, like kind of prodigal son of a powerful mystical creature, and he's highly trained and highly dangerous in his own right, but he to both characters brings a lot of like passion and pathos and like tragedy, and you have a lot of emotion for Novak. I feel for him, and physically he's great as in the fight sequence and stuff. Obviously probably got his start as a stuntman. Amazing fights.
His first kill to the drug dealer, and then he pulls the glass out of his head.
Oh, and he's licking the piece of glass. That's I love that moment too. Like Joe was saying about the fight choreography. The movie actually had 4 fight choreographers. The regular one, whose name will be stunt coordinator, like if you go on IMDb, but also Wesley Snipes. His stunt double, Wesley's stunt double, and Donnie Yen all worked as stunt coordinators on different fight sequences, because every single fight sequence, if you go back and watch this movie and you're paying attention, is different. There's different types of fighting. There's different, like, the way they're structured, the movement styles, all the way up until the very last one where they get into some real WWE shit and, like, do some full-on slams, and I love it. I just love how brutal and how strong it is. I love how like rough that last fight is, because they're both all hyped up on blood. Like Novak has killed a pile of people, and Blade the bloodbath. Blade always gets a good bloodbath right before he gets in his final fight.
And to piggyback on what saying, that last fight is what's so awesome about it is we were talking earlier, is the use of like the effects, well as like
Joe is killing
him crawling up on the wall.
Oh my God, you're killing it today.
Take another run at it, buddy.
Take it again.
All right, I was saying, to piggyback off of what you were talking about.
But say it faster, Joe.
Is him running up? Guillermo knew the CGI was not good enough to see the running up the walls, that he put it in a point of view and had it blurred and jumped off, and it looked great. Like it was something I was very conscious of.
He did an elbow drop
from across the room, and then I love he does the stomp down and through the plate.
He does a suplex, like a clean suplex. As soon as he gets out of the bloodbath, he just like holds him in the air.
Yeah,
pops him through the glass.
He does the full on jackhammer on the dude.
Well, this watch also, and I messaged you guys this, is like made me realize, A, this is one of the best vampire movies, but B,
I love Night are the 2 vampire movies of the 2000s.
I love that type of Nosferatu vampire, like that gray bald, whether it's The Descent or this.
The way he drains out and turns to stone is so cool too. That's like such a Guillermo thing, because they kind of have that in Hellboy also.
As a kid, I think Jusef might be the only one who might know this. As a kid, I used to think the vampire, and I still do, is so similar to Quan Chi from Mortal Kombat, who became the villain in like the Deadly Alliance in the 2004, like right when this movie was like on rental.
Yeah, and
they're just such similar designs and style. And could we also talk about the freaking autopsy scene, which is so intriguing?
Yeah, I mentioned a little bit when we were talking about the practical effects, but that's such a cool, like all the stuff they tell you about the Reaper, all the different ways they've advanced the Reaper, like to make it this perfect, like genetic unkillable vampire. Like,
well, it's also.
I think it pairs well with the prior scene where the Reaper is feeding off on the big guy, how his back opens up and his lungs go outside, and
he's got these big the sacs or whatever glands.
So you get to like a preview of his weird anatomy, and then you get this autopsy, and
you have that. You have the thing where like they slice top of dude's head off and his eyes still alive. Like it's like the Thing where every part of him is alive, not just
trying to feed.
It's like everything, and it's so and it's perfect Guillermo del Toro grossness too. Like he brings a lot of really cool gore effects to it.
And again, the comedic twist when they make Norman Reedus' character do it, and he looks at Blade to help him out. He's like, "Sissy," he just calls him a sissy. He's like, "Go ahead and do it."
Oh, we didn't mention that Norman betrayed them. He's actually working for the vampires, and
that might be my favorite kill when they blow him up. It's so funny. It's so over the top.
It's just like showing off, and he's just like, "I got you, bitch," and he's like, I got you. It's not a death. It just blows them the fuck up. So good.
Let's say like this movie does like to vampires, kind of like what Dawn of the Dead and 28 Days Later did to like zombie / viral like outbreak movies, where like it just amped it up a little bit to where it made you actually scared of vampires again, because you're like, you know what I mean? If you come across a vampire, stake in the heart, pretty simple. Reapers,
that's fucked.
Yeah.
Only sunlight, baby.
When the one pulls itself off the sword, and all its guts come out, but it just skitters up the wall. That's fucking gross, right?
But I like the added twist that if they don't constantly feed, they just die. Yeah. So that's kind of like
better vampire addiction metaphor than that one that they made with Tilda Swinton and Loki.
I like that movie. How about we go? Of
course you do. Of course you like that.
Well, no, wait.
Boring ass, pretentious shit. Only lovers left alive. We get it. Like they're vampires, but it's heroin. We get it.
How about we go into the rating phase?
Last Flyover, though, we mentioned we talked about virus movies or yada yada. Obviously, this might be the best virus movie.
It's true.
Yeah, it's a virus on the
Reaper virus is very scary.
And Whistler's pro-abortion, so it's topical. So we go into the ratings phase.
I'll go first. I'm going to go first this time. I've loved this movie for a long time. I'm just jumping right in. I'm going to give it 8 exploding fetuses.
I'm going to go second. I'm going to go next. I'm going to give this a 9, and I'm going to give it 9 tracks of techno music, where it's only cool if you're watching Blade 1, Blade 2, and Mortal Kombat. That's it.
Only time it's okay.
That's it.
I'm gonna give it 8 ripped old man whistle bodies. Such a he's a goal.
Yeah.
I am with TJ on 9 bone protector heart pieces.
9 hearts encased in solid bone.
Yeah.
9.
Joe said it like it was built for their hearts.
It
like
was.
They built that.
No, I don't fucking. It just like I haven't watched him so long, and I'm like, oh shit! I remember this is why I was obsessed with this movie when I was like 12.
Like, as much as, like, it's fine to be like, Blade's pretty good, it's pretty solid, but, like, this one is way, way far and above what Blade, I mean, I like Blade is fine, but this is, like, a whole nother level. There's, as far as, like, when you talk about movies that are better than the sequels that are better, there's not usually this much jump, though. Usually the first movie was really good, and also the second movie. This one, Blade it got her foot in the door, but this is what Blade should have always been. This movie's fucking great.
Loved it. Great. So Jusef,
so the next episode is me. What I did, and you guys didn't know I did it, is assign movies to you guys. And whoever won the fucking game.
So what did I get?
So ever since Joe did this Nicolas Cage bracket, I couldn't get Nicolas Cage out of my head. So I put three considered quote unquote prestigious movies of Nicolas Cage. It was Magic Man, it was Adaptation, and what Brian won, is 1987's Moonstruck. So we're watching Moonstruck, 3-time Academy Award winner. Moonstruck. So yeah, we're gonna have fun.
Sing in Moonstruck. That's mostly what I need to know.
So yeah, we're gonna have fun next time. A little bit of a rom-com with Nicolas Cage overacting and Cher stealing an Oscar.
I was hoping it was.
Couldn't have watched Mask, right? Like.
So where can the people find you, people? Brian.
Oh, hey, you can find me on Twitter at Hercules. I've been noticing my followers dropping off, so I must be doing something right. I've lost like maybe 6 or 7 followers in the last couple days, so I think I'm keeping. I'm gonna keep it on.
TJ.
You guys are on Movie Squad YouTube. Check out our flyby. A couple flybys we have. We have a flyby between Jusef and Joe talking about Mandy in Color Out of Space. We also have another flyby following the Twitter trend of Pick 3 with our 3, or with our own 9 choices that we kind of threw together to counter the other ones. And then we also have episode 47 that just dropped too. So guys, please check out. Well, this is episode 46. So check out all the fucking stuff we're doing. All right, guys. I'm TJ Dex on Twitter.
Joe.
Hey, you can find me at Chendango1 on Twitter. Just more than usual, talking about just movies strictly. Just with some other jokes in there. I may be jumping on Jusef's train, and we've bought a domain name for Chendango.
Ooh.
So that may be coming.
Ooh, Chendango says.
That was a cock tease. While I love movies. Bye. Bye.
Bye.